Welcome back, Shop Rats. Today we're back on our 1970 Dodge Challenger we call Stitches. If you're familiar with the project, this was a car that came out of the middle of a junkyard pile that had its roof crushed in, and pretty much everything but the front frame rails was rotted, and we've hand fabricated almost everything to repair it. Frame rails, floor pans, well, it's all here on the channel. My channel is about sharing the little bites. It's about sharing the reality of doing automotive restoration. If you've been around for a while, you know that we have about 10 projects we're doing. And well, today I felt like doing something simple and something that needs to be done. And it's not necessarily terribly exciting, but that's the reality of the way things go when you're doing automotive restoration and preservation. So, well, let's watch the intro. Give me 5 seconds to gather my thoughts and I'll see you on the other side. I'm Mike.
This is My Cars Shop.
Whether we do this work for a full-time job or we're doing it like we do here as a YouTube channel or we're doing it as a hobby, there are things that we run into that just make life tough. And I'm kind of in one of those situations today for sure. Won't get into a lot of the details, but I'm burned out. I'm stressed. I just don't have a lot of focus and a lot of energy, but I know how important it is for me to move forward, to accomplish some little thing. The theme of the channel here is taking little bites. And today I have just a little bite that's going to move us forward on the Challenger. And it's not the most exciting project in the world, but remember that everything that we do is something that has to be done on a car. And one of the things I want to encourage you with is if you're in a situation like I am at, where you're just mentally, physically, emotionally fatigued, you don't have a lot of time, you don't have a lot of money, and there's a lot of other stuff going on in life, you can still find a way to have some fun and gain a sense of accomplishment just by doing one little thing and then being able to walk away from that and move on to the other things you have going on in your life. So today, we're going to work on this battery tray. So let me explain a few things about it. If we take a good look at this and you know anything about the E-body Mopar, I'm pretty sure that's not the right battery tray for that car. I'm pretty sure that an E-body battery tray has kind of a triangular thing. And because we are very concerned about being 100% factory original perfect, we're going to do the right thing and go ahead and use this battery tray because it's completely wrong. It's also twisted.
Which is appropriate because so am I.
So we got to straighten it up. And, I don't care if it's perfect, but I do need to do a little better job with it and make it respectable and have it ready to go in the car. So let's take it over to the car and show you how it's going to work. We obviously have a lot of work to do in the car down in this area to get it ready to put this in, but I think this battery tray was in the car. I don't think it was in this spot in the car. I think it was in the trunk with all the junk.
You know, a lot of junk in the trunk.
If we take this battery tray and realize that it has its, little brace down there, and it does kind of fit in here, and it will hold a battery, and we may have to modify things a little bit to get it to work, but I think we're going to be okay with it because the main thing is it's going to do the job. Now, I believe the original battery tray had that triangulated piece up here to bring it up like that. So we'll make a decision today on whether or not we're going to go ahead and do that or not. But the first thing I want to do is just get this all cleaned up and make some executive decisions about where we're going from there. Just to be clear, there's a little bolt spot right there that the battery tray is supposed to bolt to, and this one doesn't because, well, I don't think it's the right one. Just not feeling like getting terribly dirty today, but I probably will anyway. But I thought for giggles,
Whoever that is.
that I would throw this in the sandblasting cabinet and see just how hard it's going to be to sandblast this thing up and make a decision on whether or not I'm going to sandblast it or if I'm going to wire brush it down and do it the way we do a lot of other things. So I probably should get this brace off of here to start. And maybe that's the place to start, is we could try cleaning this brace up and see how that goes. Just went over and got some hammer and dolly to work on this a little bit. Gonna try to get this trued up a little bit. Maybe need to get some pliers first and bend some of this back. So hang on. So we got some pliers here, and I'm just trying to ease it on down the road a little bit and get things a little closer to being copacetic and not so pathetic. Now I can work with that, I hope. Okay, we got a little repair work to do on this here, but I think that's good enough for now so we can get started. Let's pull this out a little bit here. Everything's just kind of crushed up, so can't imagine why. I don't have my vacuum hooked up to this and stuff, but for this little piece, it's probably not going to make that much difference. We do anything bigger than this, we're going to have to get the air circulation through here so that we can see what we're doing. But for now, this should work. Oh, right out of my reach. Knocked it back out of the way, eh? There we go. Okay, see what we do. Cleaned up pretty good. Let you get a good look at it. So I think what I'm going to do is the amount of time that took, I'm probably going to, we'll wire brush this down and then we'll do a quick blast over it and make an evaluation from there. But I think for the amount of time, if I was to spend all that time blasting, I'm going to be there for a couple hours and I'm too lazy for that. So let's, but I'm not going to wire brush it. I'm just going to go over it with 24 grit as best as I can. Brought you over here so maybe you can see in there a little bit. I don't know if it'll work or not, but should be able to with the light and everything that's in there. You should be able to see what's going on. So let me get the vacuum turned on to hold the dust down. We'll go from there. Do a little hammer and dolly work here, just trying to straighten some of this stuff out. Okay, it looks pretty good. It's problem is it's a little twisted, so we need to fix that. It's yeah, it's twisted. So I'm thinking the way to do that. I've wondered about just putting this in the shrinker stretcher here, but this edge isn't perfectly flat, and I'm not sure that would give me what I wanted. If I pulled, let's see, if I went on here and I shrunk this, let's try that, I guess. Let's make sure that's where, well, it's also bent over here. So, all right, where's our issue?
Somebody get me a tissue. I don't know where my issue is.
So that's okay there. Maybe the thing to do is to try to put this in the vise and just twist it and see what happens. So I think what makes sense is I'm going to put some marks on here and drill the holes where I'm going to mount this. And then we'll figure out what we're going to do to make the front mount. But if I can bolt it on here, yeah. So we'll drill a couple holes there, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do up here. So it's bolted in place. This bracket lines up here where it's supposed to now. And again, it's not the right one, but it's close enough for what we're doing here. So now I need to determine how I'm going to go up here, because if I don't put a brace up here, it could potentially flex, and I don't like that. So what I want to do, I think, is just extend this tray out. So I think we'll start by I'm kind of making some marks here. Let me grab my marker, and we will start our taper in here ish, and then here ish. So we'll cut this down and we'll flatten this out maybe, and then we'll start making the rest of the tray to go up into here. So I think that's the best way to do it. I don't know, not done it before. So as soon as I'm done with it, I'll tell you whether or not this was the best way. I'm tempted in some ways to just make a little support brace to go in here rather than trying to duplicate the factory tray, because I don't care about factory. That might be a better way to do it. Let me ponder that for a moment. So I got a piece of 18 gauge. I got it bent now. I'm going to cut it on these lines here just to kind of get us ballpark. There'll be more trimming to do in here, but for now, we'll get this cut like this. So get that cut up and I'll be right back. Got a little piece cut up now, and it fits nicely, kind of like that. So I think the next thing to do is to figure out where I want that here, and then we'll get our side pieces made and blend it, because I'm going to make it look similar to factory. One thing I was just thinking about as I was coming back in here was the fact that I left my brace over there, so I'll have to go get that in a minute. But one thing you will do when you're doing stuff like this is you're going to put parts on and off a lot if you're going to fabricate stuff and get things to fit properly, even if you're buying parts. Now, battery tray, no big deal, but come on. You're going to put stuff on and off a lot to get it right. That's just the nature of the beast. So I think I can get away with that. I don't think I need to have the other bolts in for the little bit that I'm doing here, which is just trying to come in and figure out exactly where that's got to be, like so, and then just draw my lines that I need to draw. Yep, I think we're good there. We can't come through on that side, so that's okay. It's all good. I'm going to draw a line this way also. Okay, now I got an idea where it goes. So let's go design some sides for it. We've got everything roughed in now, so I'm going to get the welder all set up. We'll get that tacked together. And yeah, we're coming along good. Got it kind of roughed in. I got to remember to make a little patch for there also. But I'm going to go ahead and get this kind of welded up and formed up the way I want it. And then we should be good to go. I got my marks where I want to kind of round that off here in a bit also. So it's progress for sure. All right, got it all spotted around. I want to cut this piece off the back here, of course, and get that cleaned up a little bit. But overall, I think it looks pretty good. So not too shabby. Oh, I missed that one spot there, so I need to get that touched up too. But overall, I think we've got an E-body battery tray. So let me get a little grinder work done on this and get that other spot finished up, and we'll be good to go. Overall, I think it's pretty good. I went over the seam with some Pour 15 patch after I cut it off. I had a couple little pinholes in there, so I figured I might as well just seal that up to keep the moisture from coming in. But I think it's looking pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and hit this with some etch prime and let that dry, and then we'll flip it and do the other side. Put her out here in the sun to dry. She looks pretty good for a battery tray. It's going to do the job. So we'll let that etch prime dry, then we'll hit it with either some platinum black or some black primer. I'm not sure which yet, but we'll hit it with something. Going to go ahead and hit it with some just regular black primer now. Just I hope that's black. Oops. I got to drill one more hole up in here to bolt it there, but I'm going to wait on that till the paint is dry. I shot it with the satin black, and it's not drying real fast today. So I also need to relocate the hole here because that one didn't work. It was twisting everything up, but that's no big deal. So good enough for now. So I'm really happy with the way that turned out. It looks pretty good in my opinion. Should be your opinion. Only the rest of the engine compartment looked that good. Definitely looking at it from here, that rear brace needs to raise up about a ½ inch. So that won't be any big deal. Should be able to do that no problem. Get that raised up and then pulled in down there where it needs to be. But it's all good. I'm really happy with it, and yeah, it looks much better with it up like that. Of course, it's not in position, but that's just a matter of minor adjustments. So, well, I would say that's a good little bite out of our Stitches Challenger. Remember what I said earlier, that these are all things that have to be done, whether it's done now or done after the car is, much further along and we're needing to put the battery tray in. When it's done, it's done. So it really doesn't matter when you do it. Today, I just needed a little distraction. I needed a little project. The other thing that some of you are going to know is you can buy this battery tray repopped from AMD for about $27, and I would guess 10 or 12 bucks shipping. So less than 50 bucks. you could buy that battery tray. And some people would say, why did you waste 3 hours doing that when for 40 or 50 bucks you could just have one? Well, first of all, cash is extremely tight. Second of all, I had this one. But the most important thing was, just like everybody else in life, we spend our time doing things whenever we can. We spend our time doing the things that are fun. That was fun for me, and I can't put a price tag on that. So, yeah, I could buy it. That's not much fun for me, especially with everything going on and money being tight and yada, 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 right? So, it's double fun.
Double your pleasure, double your fun, double your battery tray. Fun, fun, fun.
It's doubly fun for me because I know I'm saving some money, and if we go over to the price list on the car, we can add another 25 to 40. Let's put $40 over on the what we could have spent side and $0 on what we did spend, and so we would be at about 14,100 on what we put into this car if we had purchased that. We are still at $2,517.50, which is everything, including the purchase price of the car, the motor. Well, there's an episode on how much money I have invested in this car. Just about a little over $2,500, and that's pretty much everything to put the car back together and make it drive. Now there's interior stuff and other stuff, but motor, transmission, clutch, rear end, posi, four-speed transmission. I didn't say that, or did I? Body panels. I have most of the glass for the car. We can have a driving car with a little more fabrication work and throw it in primer and drive it around for $3,000. Okay, so go find another 70 Challenger.
I dare you.
Go find one that will be in the shape this one is in at $3,000. Okay, so that's what we do around here. Is we do projects that we put in the time, we do the sweat equity because we're having fun, and the fun is we get to save thousands of dollars, plus we get the enjoyment of making stuff. And I'm telling you, as a fabricator, there is no greater thrill than to take and make something out of nothing and have it look like something, and especially when it looks reasonable. Now, there are a whole pile of episodes on this car where we're making the frame rails and the floor pans and all of that stuff, and so I'm not going to waste time showing you all that. But I'm just saying, you could go out on a Friday night and go to a concert and go out to eat and go party afterwards and dump $400 or $500, and if that's fun for you, that's fine. I would rather take a piece of $100 sheet metal and make myself a floor pan that would have cost me $200 or $300 and know that I made it myself. That's more fun to me than anything else. That's what the channel's about, little bites. Today we took a bite out of the battery tray. That's done. We don't even have to finish it up. It's done. All right, that'll do it for this one. We will catch you on the next one, and don't forget, because it's important. Oh yeah, like, subscribe, share, all that, please. But more importantly,
Don't forget to rock.